Well, there have been significant developments in the past few days to root out illegal mining, particularly in Riverlea, southwest Johannesburg. Gauteng Police Commissioner Elias Mawela said on Sunday that they've uncovered the headquarters of the zamas in a disused mineshaft in the area. So what's next? I'm joined by Kayter of the Riverlea Community Forum. Mr. Kayter, thank you so much for your time. How are the people of Riverlea feeling? Is there hope that this criminality really is finally going to be stopped in your area?
Sally, the situation has been like this now for the last 8 years plus. It's a little bit too late, but we remain hopeful that the situation will return to normality. And I'm putting that word normality in brackets, in inverted commas.
The Gauteng Minerals Minister says that they're starting to close the holes that these illegal miners use to access the mines. Is that going to make a difference?
It will depend on how they're going to do it, Sally. If they're just going to cap the holes, it's going to be a useless exercise because the miners will just dig on the sides of the cap. We've been there last week before the violence started, and we checked out some of the capping that was done. And yeah, the guys are starting to dig on the sides of the shafts. So it's not going to be a long-term solution. This thing has to be thoroughly worked through.
What does that look like? I understand that there are lots of meetings ongoing at the moment. So there's certainly a lot of attention on Riverlea, but as we know, things often move away and then that attention and focus dies. So what are some of the discussions that have been had? I think you've even been in meetings this evening, am I correct?
No, I wasn't in the meeting. I unfortunately had to attend another engagement.
Okay.
But the discussions about illegal mining is ongoing. Our concern is just that, we just hope it's not going to be a temporary thing after 2 or 3 weeks and then everything returns to normal like it has returned to normal. In Krugersdorp, I believe, the zamas are back on the site there.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. In fact, we filmed them on site just over the weekend. So talk to me about what a permanent plan would look like in an ideal situation. I mean, the reality is, I suppose, you can't have these specialised police teams forever, but there must be other interventions that you'd like to see. So sketch it out for me. What would it look like in an ideal scenario?
Well, the shafts, number one, must be closed, and there should be regular inspections of those shafts to see whether it has been reopened, and then employ community members to monitor these shafts or these sites that have been closed up. That will be the best solution, regular ongoing monitoring of these sites.
And is it that simple?
Not really, because the shooting carries on. These guys have snipers sitting on the shafts there, and they look at the people, and whoever comes into their range, they can get shot.
And I was speaking a little earlier to the Johannesburg Roads Agency, and they were talking about how digging near roads is collapsing some of the roads. What impact is all this digging? And these tunnels, as we know, they extend for kilometres. Is it having an impact on the infrastructure of the people living in Riverlea?
Oh yes, it definitely does have an impact, because when you're sitting in your house working from home, or you're at home in the evenings, you can hear the diggings underground. So yeah, it also affects the structures of the buildings. So some of these houses have already started showing deterioration, and the values of the properties are also being affected because people want to start moving out of the area.
Yeah, and can you blame them? And if you look at the history of the area, I was speaking to David van Wyk last week, and this used to be a mining area, and then of course the mining stopped, but there wasn't a plan to rehabilitate the area. I know that there's huge health problems from the gold mine dust in Riverlea as well. No proper rehabilitation plan was implemented on many different levels, and it is a very sad legacy of our mining era, which has come to an end, and also many people who made their living from mining. don't have anything to do. So people who can mine, I suppose, would go back into those mines to try and eke out a living. Do you think that there's a place for these old mines that are still safe to be allowed to be used by artisanal miners, you know, sort of small-scale miners who can go in, make a bit of a living?
Sally, that is a discussion that's going to take a lot of talking, because the people in the area were put there, and none of them have ever worked on the mining sites, so they don't have any idea or clue how to do mining. So I don't know how this is going to work out. So there's going to have to be a lot of discussions with the people in those areas, whether they can be relocated. I don't think any of the people, I don't want to be relocated to another area, because which means I'm going to have to start my life all over again. And I'm almost at the retirement age.
I hear you. Are the special police units still present in Riverlea this evening?
Yes, they are there. They are, you know, the concern is just that we don't want them to arrest the residents. You know, if you might be walking in the street in the evening, you know, these guys come along and they wanted to know what you're doing out in the street. As long as they don't terrorize the residents like they did during the COVID periods.
Have there been any incidents like that in Riverlea since these special police units arrived?
No, unfortunately not. Or let me say, fortunately not. The residents are quite happy with them in the presence. But it's unnatural situation, because we don't want to see soldiers in our community.
Fair enough.
It's not a place where soldiers should. And also the helicopters over in the air, you know, they unsettle the kids at school, walking home from school, and even the residents in the community. It's an unnatural situation.
Yeah, absolutely. It is indeed. And as you say, those mine shafts and holes do need to be sealed. But if it's not done properly, the miners will simply dig a hole right next door and access the mines, and the illegal mining will continue. So it really needs to be a well thought out approach to dealing with this ongoing problem. Thank you so much, Mark Kayter of the Riverlea Community Forum. Up next, we're going